Fox Local.
Hi, we're live at Michigan and Lake. That's where we're located.
Yep.
Fox Chicago, where we are bringing you behind the scenes to see what we're doing as we prepare for the 9 o'clock newscast. And there's so many things to talk about today. We usually talk about some of the stories that are in our newscast.
Right.
And we also talk about talkers, because there are so many that we can't always get in the newscast as well that are just really good things to talk about that we all talk about in the newsroom. So first, though, we want to bring in our producer of the Chicago Report. Her name is Riley Cook, brand new to Fox Chicago.
Hi, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, welcome. And so we wanted to talk to you. First of all, tell everyone when you started here.
So I'm fairly new. I think I started January 12th.
Okay.
And since I've been here, I've been helping out with the Chicago Report, which is our political, local news hybrid show. Paris Schutz is the host. He's actually on vacation right now, so Anita has been filling
Well-deserved.
in. Very well-deserved. I hope he's sleeping right now. I hope he's not watching.
And you got up to speed pretty quickly, because I know you were like kind of touring the newsroom, so to speak, kind of learning all of the different shows.
Yeah, absolutely. So I got experience helping out with Chicago Live, so that's been fun.
Crescent City?
Yes, I'm from New Orleans, so I have a little bit of prior producing experience. I worked at WGNO there, so I love producing. That's what I came here to do, but I'm very happy to be helping out with more of the streaming and new side of things. So that's what I do here.
So for people who may not have seen it, tell us, first of all, what is Chicago Report?
Chicago Report airs from 6:30 to 7 every single night. As I said, Paris Schutz is the host, but Anita and Brett have been filling in this week. And basically the format is interview style. So we'll do 3 interviews with people in our community, stakeholders, sometimes lawmakers, aldermen. It just depends on the big stories of that day. So, you know, lately Paris has been doing a lot with the Bears Stadium saga. We've had the mayor of Hammond and plenty of others come on to give developments about that. My interest is really in politics. So I spent some time in Springfield when I was at Northwestern getting my graduate degree. And so I spent a lot of time.
Wait, we went to the same school? Did you go to Medill?
I did.
Oh, woo!
Go Cats. We just found that out. Wow.
Discovered that.
Small world.
Okay. Yeah, we both went to the same grad school. Awesome.
So I was in Springfield, and that's where I kind of found a love for politics. And so now I'm pretty familiar with what's going on in Illinois. So today I was just looking online to see what bills are being proposed.
Yes.
2 caught my eye, so I can tell you kind of about who we had on today.
Okay.
So our first guest was actually Senator Michael Hastings. He's from the western suburbs of Chicago. And I'm sure you all heard last week Waymo started mapping out the city with these autonomous cars, these self-driving cars. You know, a lot of people are excited about that. Other people are a little worried about the safety concerns.
Especially with our 6th Street intersection.
Well, more than 1,000 miles of narrow streets, and in other cities, the Waymos have not performed well in streets that are narrow, especially alleyways. So that's going to be a real challenge here in Chicago.
I've been in them, though. Have you been in them?
I've never been in one, so that's why I was so curious about this.
It's wild.
You know, I hear they're in California and Arizona, but you know, the senator was telling me today the reason he wants to, you know, offer this bill to implement guardrails is because without them, Chicago won't be able to compete. Illinois won't be able to compete with the other states like California and Arizona that are rolling out these new technologies. So it's not about impeding technology. It's about making sure the right guardrails, the right safety protocols are in place so that we can, you know, keep up with everybody else. So he basically said it's a pilot program. For 3 years, they're going to collect data on these cars. They're going to see how they work, how they operate. And then if they decide that they're safe enough, they'll give it the green light in 2029, and that's when the bill will expire.
That's a long time.
It is a long time.
That's a long pilot program.
It's a big beta test.
Right.
One thing I noticed about Waymo is I was in it in California, is there little things that kind of throw it off. So if your location, let's say you call it from a hotel and you're still walking to the front door, I noticed, the Waymo will get your location when you call it.
Interesting.
And so the Waymo picked us up behind the hotel, like
so there's
in the back alley. You know what I mean? Yes.
Well, and I read, and this is Chicago. Now, I don't know how it is, you know, downtown, but I live in Naperville, and there are squirrels everywhere. And I have read that the Waymo, it doesn't just stop, it slams on the brakes.
Oh,
and that the people in the back, if you're not fastened in, you go flying.
Right.
Interesting.
I mean, the benefit that I see, which Senator Hastings mentioned today, was that I guess it takes drunk drivers off the streets, that's the argument for it, is that, you know, there's more if there's more self-driving cars, there's less drunk drivers. So I guess that's a benefit in some sense, but I guess we'll just have to wait and see what happens.
Yeah.
But the lawmakers in Springfield are definitely working on getting this regulated.
Okay, so who was your next guest?
So the next guest was a policy director from the Illinois Environmental Commission, and which is just a commission that advocates for environmental policy in Springfield. He was on because he helped out 2 local high schoolers from Pontiac, Illinois, which is in central. I'm from New Orleans, so I'm learning all the cities.
Yes.
I'm not, hopefully I said that right, Pontiac. Anyway, these high schoolers had a proposal for a class project in government class to create a bill that would basically require the producers of vapes to be in charge or to manage their own recycling programs. It just caught my eye because, you know, people are talking about vapes nowadays and how harmful they are to the environment.
Right.
And right now, the way that our sanitation system works, it's not really set up to take care of these disposable vapes. So what it would do is shift the burden off of taxpayers and local governments onto the actual producers because they're the ones profiting off of the revenue of these vapes. So it's just a way to, you know, better the environment, get them off of the ground. They're really toxic and there's a lot of chemicals. So
Yeah. So
that's the basic idea.
Was this a proposal, or they were just talking about
This
what they
is a
want to
bill.
do?
So the
Okay.
high schoolers approached a lawmaker who got them in touch with this man named Danny Robles.
Got it.
And then he helped them draft the legislation, and it's been introduced. He says he has no clue yet if there will be bipartisan support, but, you know, they're getting input from stakeholders across the aisle, retailers.
Good for those high schools.
Yeah, I
that'll
mean,
be great for the college application.
Very impressive. I know. In high school, I wasn't doing anything
No, me
like
neither.
that. So
Well, I was
I'm
worried
just
about
thinking
my
about
hair.
that because I have a child applying to college. But that's great that the high schoolers
put that on your
started
resume.
Yes.
Say I have a bill
Right.
introduced.
Yeah, that's great.
And then I'll get to the last thing we had today. I
Okay.
won't go on too long about it because I don't want to give away everything.
well, we're enjoying
It's a
this.
tease.
Go ahead.
Good, I'm glad. So a nonprofit called Preservation Chicago releases this list every year of endangered buildings in Chicago. So this year there were 7. We asked him, you know, every year, are these the same buildings? Is it always different? He said, you know, sometimes there are repeats, but every year he tries to discover new buildings. And they're usually culturally and historically significant places that are at risk of, you know, demolition or just being neglected. So his hope with the list every year is just to get awareness from lawmakers and local people and just, you know, the goal. He says he has a high success rate, and we asked him, what does that mean? And he said that means basically you can get these sites designated as historic or endangered places, and that speeds up the renovation process. So
Can you think of any? One?
I'll reveal one. We had the Loop Synagogue, I believe. He said that one's at risk, but I won't give away the others
Yeah,
because
we have
I
to
don't
watch.
want to spoil the Chicago report.
When we first met, I mentioned to you that I have a sister, Emily. She lives in New Orleans.
Yes.
When people go there for the first time, my line is, you've got to go to Cafe Du Monde. Is there one
yes.
place where you tell people, since you're a native, that they've got to visit when they go to New Orleans?
Are you talking restaurants?
Anywhere, just the one tourist spot, the one must-see place.
For me, the first thing that comes to my mind is Frenchman Street because, you know, you think of New Orleans and you think of jazz and live music. And I feel like that's where you can find the most traditional live bands. The French Quarter is kind of messy and
Okay, so
you know,
Frenchman Street is not in the French Quarter?
Nope, it's
Okay.
a few blocks away.
I've been,
yeah.
so I'm taking note. I want to go back.
Yes, go
What
back
else?
if you're there.
I agree with Cafe Du Monde.
What else? What else is there? I mean, my favorite restaurant in New Orleans. Gosh,
I
there's
know
so
they change
many.
a lot, don't they?
They do.
There's some classics.
I like this restaurant called Mr. B's in the French Quarter, you know,
Okay.
but I have to say this is an unpopular opinion for someone who's from the South. I'm not really into Cajun food very much, so I'm not
good
the
to
best
know.
person to ask because I'm not
No
going
Cajun
to
gift
opt
cards for Riley
No.
on her birthday.
Red beans and rice and gumbo aren't quite my thing.
So if you lived in New Orleans, did you always go to like the Mardi Gras parties? or
Oh,
no?
yeah,
You did?
every year. And then I went to Tulane, so I
Oh, you
had
did?
an
Okay.
additional 4 years of
Nice.
Mardi Gras, so
Yeah.
that was
The Harvard of the
interesting.
South.
Yeah.
That's
Very good.
awesome.
But I'm happy to be in Chicago. I'm happy to, you know, take a break from New Orleans.
Well,
but-
we love that you're here.
Thank
And
you.
Congrats on being here.
Thank you, thank you, thank you for having me on. And
stuff.
if there's anything interesting happening in the Chicago report, I'll come back.
Yeah,
Awesome.
that's awesome.
Thank
we'll
you,
have you
Riley.
on again. It's always great talking to you.
Yeah.
Good talking to you
stuff.
guys, too.
Good
Riley.
stuff. Thank you.
Okay, so next we want to talk about another story that caught our eyes. If you were on TikTok today, it might have popped up in your For You feed, and it was the lines because of a sale at Canada Goose. I don't know if any of you have been up to New City Mall, but here are some pictures from it. It's up in Goose Island, and this was the line around. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, there's a big Mariano's, there's a movie theater over there, just to give you an idea of the area. But look, they were in the streets.
Look, somebody wearing a Canada Goose,
Yeah.
waiting in the Canada
to buy a
Goose
Canada
line.
Goose. And the reason why is because there was a sample sale run by a company, and some of the prices supposedly were upward of 70% off. And so the thing that was interesting to me, and Scott has a lot to say about this, is that people were standing in line for hours. It opens at 10 and it runs through Sunday, 10 a.m., but they were in line before that, freezing, and many people at the end of the line may not even get a coat today. I was reading some of the comments. One woman did get 2 coats, but not in her size, but she bought them anyway. She got one that she didn't really
gifts
like.
perhaps.
Yeah, gifts for other people.
Yeah.
But, you know, you see how long the lines are, so some of those people won't even get in today.
Yeah, and I just want to preface what I'm about to say. You and I are going to talk about the line in a minute, but first I want to show folks at home this. This is the latest quarterly report from PETA. Now, if you know some of my work over the years here at Fox Chicago, you know I'm an animal activist. I want to say what I'm about to say has nothing to do with the materials used in the Canada Goose products, okay? If you follow Canada Goose, you may be aware that a few years ago, they came to an agreement through PETA that they were no longer going to buy new fur. If you've seen the jackets, you know that they're fur-lined. Those are coyote fur. They agreed they're going to stop doing that. So that's not really what I'm talking about. I just wanted to sort of use that as a disclaimer. Thank you, Dawn. Why I bring it up is because Canada Goose, as our parent company, Fox News, reported this week, had a data breach. Okay. 600,000 customers. Now, Canada Goose has yet to notify their customers that they had a data breach. And this has become so prevalent in this country. Dawn, you and I are in the newsroom. We're in our editorial meetings. We're talking about this constantly. Yes, we're journalists. You and I are also consumers. Sometimes we're victims, as I have been a victim.
Yes.
And that's where I arrive at
Your letter?
Conduent. I just received this.
I got that in the mail.
Did you get? I thought you might. Okay. So Conduent informed me that they too suffered a data breach, like Canada Goose. Only they informed me that my Social Security number and my address have been compromised.
Yes.
So I did a deep dive because I have never heard of this company. I don't know what they do. Well, they're a data processing firm. And what they do is they handle almost every major healthcare company in the nation.
That's not good.
So that's probably where they got my information, potentially your information.
I got 2 of those letters.
So you got 2 of these
breaches.
letters. Okay. So I started to wonder how, first of all, how does this happen? How do 3,300 companies reported a data breach last year? That is a staggering number. That's just last year alone. Okay. So we're talking about 1.5 million victims of identity theft. 1.5 million. And I'm thinking to myself, these are companies that we are entrusting to take care of our information. How does this keep happening? Well, the obvious answer is human error. Phishing scams, people that are at their desks, they open something, an attachment, they're not paying attention. You can let that go. Sometimes, though, it's software patches that are not state-of-the-art, they're not up to date, and cyber criminals, now using AI, are infiltrating these companies. Okay.
Well, here's, as a side, I will say this, because someone taught me this a long time ago, is everybody really should lock their credit. If you're not applying for anything right now, if you don't need to, you know, buy a house, a car, or need a credit card, it's free. And I don't think a lot of people know that.
Let me ask you a question on the point of freezing your credit. She's given you the key to the kingdom here. How many people do you suppose, what percentage of Americans have frozen their credit? Just off the top of your head, what would you guess?
I would say 10%.
Yeah, it's between 10 and 20%.
Yeah.
And it only takes a few minutes. And
but I think people don't know that it's free.
It's
and you
free.
can go to all three of them and lock it.
Yes,
and it's quick.
And you and I, not long ago, we made major purchases, and we were talking about, obtaining loans, and I believe you and I were talking about, they call it thawing your credit.
Right.
It's relatively easy to do, and whether it's Experian or TransUnion, they have made it very easy through apps to do just that, to freeze your credit and then unfreeze it on a dime. It'll happen instantly.
I'll tell you a quick story before you move on. The reason I did that is someone went to a store here and got my picture off of the internet, created an Illinois ID, a fake Illinois ID, and tried to buy clothing. And they were able to start the purchase of $3,000, but someone knew me in the store and looked at my phone number and called me and asked did I try to make a purchase because someone had just tried to go in there. And that's when I locked the credit, and it's been locked. So anytime you are about to buy something, then you can just go online, unlock it real quick. You can say for a day or two, and then it'll lock itself again. But go ahead.
It's so important. Now, here's where, again, yes, we're journalists, and yes, our first duty is to be objective as we approach any story. But we're also human beings, and we're also consumers. Here's where I kind of got angry. Here's what Conduit says that they're going to do for me. And so you got the letter they're going to do for you. They're going to enroll me in a complimentary identity monitoring system. So I did a dive on that. What does that do? It does literally nothing. Number one, it does not stop a potential cyber thief from stealing your information. It cannot stop anybody from taking your social security number, any of your passwords. What it does is it does a really good job as a tool of notifying you that your identity has been stolen. Okay? So that's first and foremost. So once your identity is on the dark web, and I have been informed formally that my identity is on the dark web, it's up to you to freeze your credit. And just one more thing. If your identity is compromised, it takes on average 6 months and 150 personal hours to undo what has been done. So that's kind of the rabbit hole I went down.
From Canada Goose?
That Canada Goose had a data breach that was just reported this week. So I just wanted to share that with everybody. We're all in this fight together. Ryan, I want to bring our producer in.
First of all, we should ask Ryan, would he stand in line that long for a jacket?
Would you stand in line that long for a jacket?
I'm busy checking my ID and everything right now to make sure that it's all okay. But no, I would stand in line for that jacket. I mean, I've heard it's really well, but something else I would stand in line for is basically any football game, basketball game, you know.
Experiences, right?
Exactly. That's what you looking for.
For hours?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, I've done that before. Assembly Hall, Indiana, you know, basketball. You had the students line up hours before game time. I was one of them.
Yeah. We thought it was interesting. We started to have this conversation about what we would stand in line for because we were saying people are standing in line to spend a lot of money.
That's right.
And so we were asking our producer Sloan about it, and she's like, I would stand in line for like free plane tickets or something. And I was saying, I think I would stand in line if people were giving something to me, but I don't know if I'd stand in line for hours to spend that amount of money.
Yeah. I'm with you guys there. I'm trying to think of what I would spend. I mean, Packers tickets, that's what I would do.
I told Sloan that if it was Vegas and if it was in the paddock for F1, I would stand in line for that.
Actually, you know, there's one big thing that actually I would stand in line for. It'd be Notre Dame football. It would truly be Notre Dame football because that stadium, I've been there, I've toured the campus, it's beautiful, the atmosphere there, fantastic.
Well, it's telling that you would go and wait in line to see the Fighting Irish because we did learn today about the loss of a legend, and that is Lou Holtz, of course, the last head coach for Notre Dame to lead the Fighting Irish to a national title.
Yeah, it's very sad. You know, he was one of the foundations that built this program because the program wasn't good all the time. He was hired in 1986. 1988, he had delivered a national championship, and in 1989 as well, they finished #2 in the AP poll. He's one of the first, I think he's the first coach in Notre Dame history to actually lead the team to back-to-back 12-win seasons. That's pretty impressive. And he won 100 games in 11 seasons, ranks 3rd for Notre Dame. He's made such an impact at this university, and not just on the field, but off the field as well.
Okay, so we have about a minute, but I wanted to ask you about this rivalry you were telling us about earlier in the newsroom.
Ryan-Day feud.
Oh, yes. So
Ryan, tell us about Ryan.
Quickly, September, I'm going to take you back 2 years ago, or 3 years ago, September 2023. Friday before, Notre Dame takes on Ohio State. Lou Holtz goes on the Pat McAfee show and calls out Ryan Day and questions his program, questions his toughness, his mentality, his players. Saturday rolls around, guess what happens?
He won.
Ryan Day won. They came back and won 17-14. But here's the better part. Ryan Day fired right back.
Yeah, he said, where's Lou Holtz now, right?
Bingo. Yep, exactly. And Lou Holtz, he didn't back down as well. He carried that criticism and defended it until his death. So does this squash the beef between the two? I'll be interested to see if Ryan Day will come out with something.
Right, if he comments at all.
Hopefully he'll be classy. Ryan Day has since won a national title.
Exactly.
I would assume he'll take the high road.
I'm hoping so. I mean, he's got the pedigree to back it up now. So.
Yeah, good stuff, Ryan.
Thanks, Ryan.
All right, thank you.
That's great.
We got new video, too, of Lou Holtz and University of Notre Dame honoring him. It's going to be in tonight at Fox 32.
Awesome.
Very nice.
Okay.
Touchdown, Jesus. All right, good stuff.
I wonder how much time we have, Riley, because I have one more thing. Okay, so just one last thing I'm going to say. United can now kick people off for not using headphones on the plane.
Love
that. So make
that.
sure you use your headphones.
Love that.
That's another great talker today. Look it up. All right, so we're going to bring in Emily Walls because we are going to run into the studio. She's going to run in here, and then we'll join you at 9 o'clock. See you in a minute.
Welcome back. So I am Emily. This is Marissa, our executive producer, and we're kind of taking over for Dawn and Scott while they scurry over to the studio. But, you know, before we went to break, Dawn was mentioning United and how they have this new policy that they kind of snuck in there this past Friday. So let me read you this quick little thing. Any passenger listening to music, watching a video, or scrolling on social media feed that emits sound must wear headphones. And this was a revised contract that United had on Friday. But the catch here is, you know, one, nobody wants to listen to your stuff anyway.
No,
you know,
never.
Everyone's wearing headphones anyway. But if you don't have headphones, you can ask for them and they'll give them to you for free.
Yeah.
So really, this isn't much of a hassle, right?
Except, here's my question. If you're on your phone and you have the new iPhone, there's no headphone jack. So if they're giving you like airplane headphones,
you always have to have that adapter.
right.
Huh.
Or you can just bring your own headphones in the first place.
Yes. Yeah, but you know, just a little FYI there, picking up where Dawn left off. But we are here to talk about, surprisingly enough, not Taylor Swift, because usually if you get the both of us together, that's what we're talking about. But Marissa, you have dogs, and it's beginning to be that kind of the kind of weather that we like to get out and about. So you wanted to talk a little bit about dog beaches.
Roll the tape.
Yeah, where's the best one?
Roll the tape. Go ahead. Montrose Dog Beach is heaven on earth. If you haven't been there, you need to go there.
It's like what we imagine heaven being with our dogs.
Literally, it's like a dream scene of heaven, and it's the dog beach. Yeah, there we go.
Are those your dogs?
The little white one is, and then Lincoln you'll see here in a minute. Montrose Dog Beach, right now, there are some ice shelves still melting that make it kind of dangerous to go there. But when it is 60 degrees, and I keep telling the dogs, we're going to have a park day. It's going to happen. It's going to come soon. It's just beautiful.
You know, speaking of those ice shelves, so this is something that I always kind of harp on every single time we talk about it, because it's really hard to tell where the ice shelf is and where the beach stops.
Exactly.
So, you know, especially if you are going to places that still have ice shelves, try your hardest to keep your dogs off of them, because they are unsafe. You know, underneath an ice shelf is typically open air, and then you have the water kind of slapping up against that, and that weakens the ice. So just be very, very careful.
That's
but you know what? We're almost through this season, Marissa. It has been, you know, it's been really nice for the last couple of weeks. We've had a couple cool days here or there, but
no stretches, really.
Yeah, it's been pretty nice. And temperatures later this week, we are going up into the 70s on Friday. So a lot of the ice that we still have, that's going to continue to melt. But you want to know what I'm looking forward to? My dog's even looking forward to
Yes.
Speaking of...
Put up the picture, please.
Speaking of dog beaches and dog things, we're gearing up for St. Patrick's Day weekend here. So it's not this weekend. It's next weekend that the city really begins to celebrate, right? So we've got the river dyeing that's going to be taking place, the parade.
Saturday the 14th.
That's right. And then the Southside Parade, that's on the 15th, on that Sunday.
Yes.
So there's a lot going on. And, you know, I think one of the most, there's my little girl. There's my... my dog, that's Zephy, by the way. Her name is Zephyrus, which means it's the Greek god of the west winds.
Amazing.
Bringing, you know, warmer days. So, hey, Zephy's with it today. But, yes, we're all gearing up for that. And one of the biggest questions that I've had is this going to stick around for St. Patrick's? Because everybody thinks back to 2012 when it was in the 70s and near 80 degrees. No, I don't think it's going to be that warm.
Okay.
And we are going to see temps drop off by the middle of next week. But there's signs that we could be warming back up, potentially into the 60s. So we're a week and a half out from this. There's time for things to change. But regardless, it's something that we're tracking.
So every day you'll get a better idea of what St. Pat's is going to be. I think I put in the river dyeing video too. I remember a couple years ago it was about 7 degrees. And everyone was just running out of their cars to get a picture with the river and then back.
I did not partake at all that year. So fun festivities coming ahead in the next couple of weeks around here, and hopefully the spring-like temps will stick around. Now, coming up very quickly here on the news at 9 p.m., for those of you that are going to hop over to Fox Chicago, I have a special that's airing tonight about AI, and there's a lot of questions all about AI all the time, but this is kind of how it plays into the weather world and what that could look like for meteorologists in the future.
In the future.
Yeah, so tune in. I'll see you there.